Where's all the old bros?
A couple are skating right now. I know Doug and Kyle were going to go skate at Poods this morning. There's a few out there. Like DK has a session on his ramp where they do a social distancing session, only 4 people at a time, and you stand on the 4 corners, and ride the ramp. That's cool. I haven't even ridden it yet. It looks super fun.
In Fallbrook.
That's an interesting thing. That are people that people our age, are they just riding, or are people worried they're going to die, or how's that?
I see both.
Yeah.
Very extreme. I mean, you got people like Jesse Parker who's like, damn the torpedoes and just goes everywhere he wants and skates. And then you've got people, like me that are kind of, I'm still trying to social distance just because I've got a total compromised immune system, my lungs and stuff. So I don't know. I can't risk, I've almost died of pneumonia a couple times. So I don't want to get this thing, whatever it is. But I don't dwell on it though.
Yeah. I just wondered because you've been skating a long time, and so that obviously was not a worry when you were 14.
Right, and this is probably the longest it's been in years that I haven't skated. So I mean, I've been skateboarding around work. I bring my skateboard at lunch. I just push around because all the businesses by us are closed, so all the parking lots are pretty empty. So I just cruise around there and stuff, just so I don't know. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget how to do it and hurt myself or something. You know what I mean?
It's the truth.
Yeah,
it's amazing how quickly you can forget it.
Yeah, I haven't tail dropped anything in months, and that's unusual for me. Of course, I can do that, but
right. That's all operational right now?
Nah, it's got a bunch of soft spots, so it's kind of sketchy. But I mean, I could still ride it. I don't know. I'm not used to going out here and skating by myself,
It's always fun to skate with your friends.
Yeah. For me, it's way more social than whatever, trying to pull something off.
Yeah. So when I first met you, it was, I want to say 1978, and I was at Skatopia and skating. I don't even know if I worked there yet. And your girlfriend at the time, Yuki, was, I believe, working Border Patrol. And you were this mustached sort of Greek god guy skating the half pipe magically, and you're this super nice dude. That's the thing I remember about you. And then you were gone. So what happened? Where'd you go?
I became an asshole. And
not a Greek god anymore.
Yeah, those days were long. When I couldn't hold up to that, I just had to disappear. Then I moved to San Diego. So I think I started at Skatopia in '77 when it first opened.
When it first opened.
Yeah, I'd literally been open a week when I got a job there. And I worked till '78, I think, is when I moved down here. And I moved down here. I remember I went to Spring Valley Skate Park, Moving On Skate Park were open, and Oasis. And Oasis was pretty rad for back then. And I was at Oasis, and somebody I met there, it's probably a friend now, I can't remember who it was, but told me they were building a skate park in Del Mar and that I should go check that out. And so I remember I rode my motorcycle because I was living down in San Diego, whatever, and rode my motorcycle to Del Mar and pulled up. And I think that first day I met Grant and Jim Alisi. I want to say they were both there. And somebody, I don't know if it was Grant or Jim, was like, oh, I told them I worked at Skatopia, and they're like, oh, you want a job? So
cool.
I started working there, and they were still building it because I remember I was helping wheelbarrows full of cement along back to the back because they were still building walkways in between the bank slalom and the half pipe and stuff. And I distinctly remember wheeling this wheelbarrow full of concrete along the half pipe, and it got away from me, and I ended up spilling the whole thing into the half pipe.
Oh my God.
I totally thought that it ruined the thing, and I was kind of freaking out, but whoever they were, the construction guys, they just came over with the hose and hosed it all down the drain, and I was like, oh, okay. it's not, I didn't ruin it, but yeah, those are all, obviously that's like a whole, I could talk about Del Mar for forever, that was like our life. And the whole working at a skate park thing, that culture and that lifestyle is like, I don't know, just so fun, especially then because everything was so fresh and new. And
did you see, you have a good Skatopia story? Did you see Broken Bones? Did you see Dogtowners? I mean, anything?
Oh man. Well, because I ended up doing the skate patrol thing too. And then I also did the thing, I don't even know what we called it, but where we had to, people had to like qualify. Like they had to be able to ride the little snake run thing first. And then like they had to do certain things before we would let them like go to the half pipe or go to the
What? I had never heard this.
Yeah. I think it was mostly in the beginning, but because in the beginning, there wasn't very many skate parks. I mean, by that time I had skated Carlsbad and Anaheim, Concrete Wave and Montebello and some others. But anyways, back then parents would just like bring their kids to the skate park, like a kid who's never even skateboarded before, and they'd buy him a whole setup and just be like, okay, Johnny, have fun. And, little Johnny would just like roll into the Clover Bowl, which was like funky with those multiple waterfalls.
Yeah.
And just, first time, just like wing out and break off an arm. I saw compound fractures. I saw broken wrists and arms. I remember this one kid broke his pelvis and in that Clover Bowl, and he was laying at the bottom. Like I walk up and he's laying there and his leg was sticking out at like a total 90-degree angle.
Oh,
he was just kind of laying there crying, and I'm all, like thinking, yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. And I think I called to somebody, I think Don, remember Don?
Don Schultz.
He's the one who hired me. I remember like yelling for him and holding the kid from trying to get up because he was all freaking out. Yeah, I want to say back then there was like an ambulance there almost daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would just be showing up and hauling people out. That's pretty bad.
You should have worked at Paramount Skate Park. We had ambulance twice a day.
I bet. You guys had like
one was for Orton Special all the time.
Yeah, there's some big stuff there. Totally.
That was crazy.
I'm surprised I didn't get hauled out of there. I remember that. I skated that part too. I remember thinking like that big Verde Bowl thing was like, you're just kind of going, really? Like,
and when I left there, I went to Del Mar to start Del Mar. And it was like, wow, we went from the crustiest concrete in the world to the best,
Totally. And the designs, just the pools, like the Kona Bowl at Del Mar, to me, that was like, wow, man.
That was all Wally and Curtis Hazelgrave, most all that.
That was like a real pool. I was telling Ken the other day, I think besides the little original pool at Skatopia, that Kona Bowl was like the only pool that didn't have a roll-in. Every other bowl, like at a skate park, had a roll-in except that one. Even even Marina's dog bowl had a roll-in in the shallow, but not the Kona Bowl. You had to either start in the bottom or tail drop.
I don't think people tail drop much back then either.
Yeah,
no.
I did then though, because I was telling Ken the story too, is that I learned how to tail drop at Skatopia because it would get so crowded and there'd be this huge line at the top of the half pipe. So we learned to tail drop so that we just like start halfway down and snake people, or if somebody, fell, we'd just tail drop in front of them or something.
You had to.
Yeah. And so I could tail drop that Kona Bowl, but it wasn't easy because that thing was like, it was shallow and tight, but fun. Really fun. I love that pool. I saw JT do his first no hand backside airs in that pool.
That's crazy. I've heard that. I've heard you say that, but what was that? What did that? I didn't even know people were doing them at that time. I mean, what did that?
Wasn't like, well, I don't think anybody was. He has said that he did them in the original Kona, the backyard pool, but I don't know. He may have accidentally pulled off a couple or something, but at the Kona at Del Mar, he actually kind of like set his mind to it and practiced it and worked it out. And he used to he would ride with a tail block on the top of his tail. And so when he went up, he would like kind of use that. He would push his foot against that and use that to like turn the tail around in the air. It's kind of weird. Yeah. And, he rode those skinny longboards, but I distinctly remember him like trying it over and over and over and then start making it. And then pretty soon, pretty consistently making it. And it was
crazy.
He was way ahead of the whole mask thing.
A little trendsetter.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
This day. Hey, Wally. I didn't see
How you
you.
doing, Bill?
Good, man.
Hey, how you doing, Darren? Ed?
He's probably bummed.
Ollie, you want to use my hairbrush?
Yeah, I just came in from doing yard work.
Yeah.
You have bedhead.
A little sweaty.
I got the full, like COVID hair myself, man. I haven't had a haircut in so long.
I imagine
Yeah.
like
Open up the barber shops, right?
Yeah. I just ordered. In fact, I should get it. I thought I was going to get yesterday a trimmer. I'm just going to start doing my own, you know.
That's what you
My
got to
wife
do these
shaved
days.
my head at the beginning of this whole thing. It's starting to grow back. Not on top, but
I think I met you, Grant. You had a ponytail.
no, I didn't have a ponytail.
But he had some wild hair though, man. Like
I had hair. I had a
That's
bush.
right. He has the big frizz.
I had the bushy. Oh yeah, there's Bill,
yeah. Speaking of ponytails,
Greek goddess or Greek god. He is a Greek goddess.
my God, it's really. You know, I totally remember back then too that I would be driving my car, and my hair was like long like that. You know, you'd be like driving, and my hair is like flowing out the window, and some dude would like pull alongside and be all like, "Hey, oh, it's a guy."
What kind of board were you on here, Bill?
That's actually a Dogtown board, like an original West Homestead. It's got the wedge tail, and it had a hand felt tip West Homestead design on the bottom.
Right.
So blew it and just gave it to somebody. You know, I was never a collector of anything, and I've never really held on to skateboards and stuff. So working at the skate park, you know, you'd get one board or one set of wheels or whatever and ride them, and then somebody would come up with something else, and you'd be like, "Oh, I want to try that," and then I'd just like, "Here, do you want this?" and just hand it off to somebody. I totally know Rudy Navarro. I think. Oh no, I was thinking maybe I gave him that, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
But, I showed pictures of it to Wes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's one of mine."
You got some gnarly pad on your left knee. Looks like a brace.
Extra, I don't know, just
Okay.
sketchy. You know, those pads are totally useless.
That shirt, did you cut the sleeves off yourself?
Yeah, of course. I typically never wore a shirt. I think, who knows? Maybe I was working. I don't know.
Right.
That bull was so fun.
It was fun, huh? And it was like, it's kind of legit. It was pretty steep, you know, and vert for how small it was.
At the time, it was the greatest. Remember having some great sessions there.
Yeah, and I had that, you know, I had like a real cool little set of steps coming down the side, so you did push off from the shallow.
Nobody ever rode that shallow, did they?
I don't really remember. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I
Wasn't in the concept at the day of.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing there was a couple guys riding shallows back then and thinking that was so like insane to be able to ride, you know, no transition basically.
Right.
How about that funky helmet I was wearing though? I can't remember like where I got that or why. That thing was disgusting. Same thing. I think I wore it for like a day or two and then gave it to somebody.
So what about before that, Bill? Like before Skatopia, what was your, you know, you talked about Carlsbad. I have no experience at Carlsbad.
Well, I mean, before the whole like skate parks stuff, you know, I just skated like everybody else, ditches and streets and you know, reservoirs and then eventually pools. But I skated a lot of Chantry Flats in Arcadia. I would ride that almost every day. Like as a kid, I would hitchhike up. It's like 13 miles, windy mountain road, and I would hitchhike after school. I'd hitchhike up there, ride down to the bottom, and then stick my thumb out again. And if somebody picked me up, I'd go back up and do it again. And if not, you know, from the bottom of Chantry Flats was still like 7 miles to my house. I would still just skate. There's a bunch of really cool streets that like had a good pace, you know, like you kind of go straight but not go too fast. On Chantry, it was all about just, you know, carving back and forth the whole way down because it was a little bit too steep. I mean, except for like if you see you know, pictures of Ben, you know, skating it now, or those videos of Ben. That's pretty rad. We kind of did the same thing, but you know, I'm no Ben Schroeder, so. But we would go and do like, you know, like slides in the dirt on the side, and there was a couple little banks and stuff, and then that's where we found that that the Rattlesnake Shake. It was this crazy spot, you know, it was all about surf skating back then. It's all we were doing was just emulating surfers, you know. I didn't even know any like pro skaters or anything. I don't think there were any at the time. But this spot, this Rattlesnake Shake place it was a asphalt road that went off of Chantry Flats. It was all fenced in with barbed wire and stuff, and it just went up and went around the corner, and right as it went around the corner you could see that the sides were paved. So we hopped the fence one day and went up there, and I'd probably ridden by that thing like, who knows, you know, 50 times before I was like, hey, what's up there? And we walked around the corner, and the whole road, so basically they'd just taken this asphalt road that went up this canyon to a microwave relay station, and they paved the sides just to keep it from eroding.
Oh man.
So they just like threw concrete on all the sides, and then they put the concrete like around tree bases and stuff. So there was like weird, like cool pits. For the most part, where it hit the asphalt was pretty bad. Like there's, you know, shit like that, but there's certain spots where they'd kind of just trowed the concrete out onto the asphalt, so it had a really good transition to go up.
Yeah.
And you know, we were just like carving in, and we, you know, you'd go up on a wall and then like get near a bush and try to stay on the wall forever type thing. And there was like all these spots where you could go up here, but you couldn't really go down until you got down a ways. So you'd have to stay on the wall for a while, and then you turn down and go up the other one. And it was really cool. That was a great time in skateboarding. And that was right when like Road Riders and Bennett's came out. So I think the first time I rode it was on like Cadillacs and Excalibur trucks, but it was pretty soon after that when the better wheels and trucks came out.
What year was that when you were riding that thing?
Like 74, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
I was like 15 maybe, I think.
Right.
I mean, I started skating it like probably a year earlier, but and that's what I was gonna tell you about my first pool that I ever skated was I'm not one of those guys who like, oh, I rode pools with clay wheels and stuff. Like I didn't. I probably, it's like 74 or 75, I think, was the first time I skated a pool. And I was coming down Chantry Flats, and it's above Arcadia. And back then Arcadia was like, had more pools per capita than any other city in the United States. So we'd stop on that road and look down. There was just, every house had a pool. And I remember that day I looked out and there was like 3 empty pools, because you could tell, you know, they were the white ones instead of the blue ones. So I was like, oh, like that one I know right what that is. I'll just go down Santa Anita, turn left. So I'm like riding down, I rode down all the way down Chantry Flats, and I went down Santa Anita, and I turned left on the street, and one of my freaking wheels came off. And, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I kind of wiped out, and I'm like, what? So I picked it up, and it was a Cadillac. It was I think it was a Stoker is what it was. It was a Stoker wheel. Anyways, you know, with the loose ball bearings and the cups, it had gotten so hot, like the cup had gotten so hot that it melted the wheel off the cup. So anyways, I like picked it up and I walked down to this house, and I go up and I ring the doorbell because I'm thinking, you know, I'm just going to ask if I could skateboard in the pool. And there's nobody there. And so I just went in the backyard and I checked it out. And looking back, it was probably a really good pool, because it was a kidney and it was pretty big and it was like really round. And I remember thinking like, oh, maybe I could just ride it with 3 wheels, you know, but no, there's no way. So anyways, I went back out to the street, and I was going to hitchhike down to my friend Tyler's house, because I knew he had a skateboard, and because he used to ride Chantry with me too. And I ended up having to walk the whole way because nobody picked me up. But anyways, I got to his house, and he's like, I told him about the pool, and let's go do it. So we walked out. He lived like right off Santa Anita. We walked across the street, stuck our thumb out, and instantly got picked up. And the guy took us to the house because he was going up to Chantry probably to get high or something. You know, He was 18 or something older than us. But we told him we were going. We didn't tell him why we were going there, but and he literally pulled us up and parked in the driveway and let us out. You know, and then I remember thinking, we're all like, okay, see ya. And I remember this awkward feeling of like, well, we don't really live here, but see you later, guy, you know, and we waited for him to leave. And then we went back and we rang the doorbell again. Nobody was there. So we went back in the backyard and we skated for a while. And eventually and I was like, I didn't even know how to skate a pool. So we were just carving backside. I mean, I got pretty high, like, you know, I didn't go over the light, I don't think. But, and I remember that was like one of the first times I did like a round frontside carve too, which was really cool, super surfy feeling.
Yeah.
Eventually the owner came home, this woman, and she comes in the backyard and she wasn't mad or anything. She was just like puzzled, like, what are you guys doing here? You know, we're just skating in your pool. And she was like, she was mostly worried about us getting hurt was her whole thing. Like, you know, she wasn't, like I said, she wasn't mad. And she's like, you're going to have to leave and, you know, don't come back. And the next day we went back, of course, you know, because we figured she was probably at work. So, and then that day the neighbors came and kicked us out because they heard us back there. Maybe she talked to them or something. Yeah, funny. That was my first pool experience.
Did that stick with you? Meaning that did you then begin to search out pools now that you knew that, you know?
Yeah, I don't even think I slept that night. All I could think about was that pool. And I remember I went and got borrowed like a set of some other wheels from somebody so I could go back and ride. Yeah, that, like I said, those those Excalibur trucks too, they were like, so I had a homemade board. I remember I bought like maybe one of those Grand Techs or something, or I think my dad got it for me, one of those plastic boards, but it was too small and funky. So I took the trucks and wheels off that and made my own board that was bigger. And they were like screwed in, you know, with wood screws. They didn't even like have bolts or anything. But yeah, I think that totally started it, in fact. And that's what we used to do, is we would go up Chantry and then just look out over Arcadia and Sierra Madre and stuff and try to find other pools. And then, you know, that year was, so like in 1975, I think I was like 15 and a half. So you could have a learner's permit back then. So I could drive. There was, you know, Bennett trucks, Road Rider wheels. All of a sudden, man, it was all like coming together. Everywhere was, you know, open. Some of the ditches that were funky back then were like fun, you know, now on those kind of wheels and trucks and stuff.
Yeah, that technology allowed it.
Did you skate that pool off of Huntington Drive by the racetrack at the old abandoned motel?
With the big round one?
Yeah, the big round one.
Yeah, that was killer. Yeah. Yeah, I skated so many pools. That's where I met Chris. You know, Stropel was in backyard pools. Like, I think I met Chris at the Seal Bowl. That was a square one, right?
Yeah, that was a square one. That was awesome because it was away from the house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I met him, I remember. And he was rad. You know, he was better than me. he always was. Yeah, there, I think I skated with him at, that S-Tray Bowl, that really good big round one in Arcadia. That, I mean, Alba was there and Jay and a bunch of people showed up there. I don't think you were there, but, and Stropel was doing backside airs, which I'd never seen. I was like, this is more like 76 or, yeah, probably 76 by then.
That's a pool that he was doing the backside airs over the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good pool. I mean, it was like a skate park pool. It was basically a keyhole. It was totally round, and then it had like one weird sort of pocket, but then it had a square shallow and a big waterfall and plenty of room to push off the shallow. And that was a permission pool too, because we called it the Esh Tray because the guy that owned it, his last name was Esh, and that was kind of the same sort of thing. These kids told me about it, and I went there, and it was already getting dark, and it was like, whoa, this thing's rad, you know. So we took some runs, and then I remember we went back. I drove home and we each got, me and maybe Brian Carr, one of those Arcadia guys. We got those clip-on lights, you know, like the big light that you would clip onto something. We got 2 of those, and we clipped them on the house and the patio so we could light up the pool, and just started skating the thing at night. Skated like till 10 o'clock at night. And then the owner comes home. We're in his backyard. We got lights on and we're skating his pool. And he comes home and same sort of thing. He was like, you know, what are you guys doing? You know, and we're like, we're skateboarding. And he was super cool. He's like, well, I don't really care if you do. You know, I'm going to fix this thing up anyways. But I have one rule. You can't come back at night and you have to wear a helmet. And we were like, you know, a helmet, like there was no such thing as skateboard helmets, I don't think then. I remember a couple guys like showed up with like motorcycle helmets on and stuff. And but he was super cool about it. And then there was a lot of good sessions in there. Yeah, like I said, I think Chris told TA about it. There's pictures of Tony in the new Back in the Day book, I think, or one of those books. Maybe the book that Ozzy is doing or did.
Yeah, I think Stropo took him and the Sharp Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was us who took the photos.
Yeah.
They took photos of me too, but I never saw them. So it must have been one of those Grand Britain things. Cutting room floor. Nope, not good enough. But I just remember like doing frontside airs in front of, I don't know if it's Stan Sharp or which one, but like right in front of him every time, it wasn't even the place I wanted to do it, but I'm like, well, I'm going to do it right there. I never saw him though, but there's a really killer one of TA doing it. Just a tuck knee. Cause yeah, Ozzy,
yeah, that photo
I was talking to Ozzy about it, and somehow we got on that subject, and I told him, yeah, I know right where that pool is. So I Google Earthed it and sent him a picture and like, where it was. And he went and talked to the owner about trying to skate it again. Cause it is just really good. But, they had coated it in fiberglass cause it was leaking or something. And, the owner seemed, I guess Ozzy was saying that the owner seemed maybe receptive to letting people skate it, but I don't really know what came of that. I don't think he has. I'd leave it to Ozzy too to just go knock on some guy's door now, as a grown man, and be like, "Can I skate in your pool?" But, yeah, that was a good one. There was so many around there, but
Hey, Bill. What about Van Halen?
what's that?
Van Halen.
Oh, the Van Halen story?
Yeah.
Wait, are you being serious, or are you referencing JT?
I just remember.
Grant's like
When robot.
yeah, Grant's going robot.
He's going Evo on us.
Well, no, that story is that I was in a garage band. I was a teenager.
Go ahead. I'm going to mute Grant for just a moment.
Yeah. And what was our band's name was Nitro, and we just covered like Black Sabbath and Kiss and I think Kiss, but mostly Black Sabbath, stuff like that. Anyways, and we practiced in this little studio behind a flower shop called the Friendly Shop on 2nd Avenue in Arcadia, and the other band that practiced in there at the time was Van Halen. And this is before their first album, before they were like, well, they were already sort of famous locally because they used to have parties. They played a lot of backyard parties in Arcadia and Pasadena and Sierra Madre and stuff. They were always called Van Halen parties because like they were the bomb. And yeah, we would practice, and then when our session was over, they would show up, and we would usually sit around and watch because my friend Spencer Circum, who was a guitarist in our band, who's an extremely talented guy, like he's one of those guys like, why didn't he not become Eddie Van Halen or somebody, because he was really, really good. But he would just stare at Eddie Van Halen playing guitar and just be like, with his guitar, watching Eddie and just like learning stuff. And yeah, he was really good. It was probably like the next year their first album came out, and we were like, we know those guys. And they got really big. In fact, my sister used to clean. So I went to school with, his real name is Robert Soboleski, the bass player. I don't know what I think they call him something Anthony, or anyways.
Oh yeah.
Anthony's his middle name, I think, but his real name is Soboleski. I went to school with his younger brother, and so that we had that connection too. But my sister ended up cleaning his house for years because she had a house cleaning business, and he lived in this crazy like mansion in the foothills of Arcadia with, or maybe Monrovia, with like a water slide going through the house into the pool and stuff. And yeah, she used to always tell me those stories about him. But yeah,
that's rad.
That's my favorite.
Van Halen.
We used to go to so many shows back then too. It's funny, like you saw what I looked like when I was 18. When I was 15, I probably looked the same. I had long hair and a full-on mustache at 15. Like when I was 15, people that were like 20 years old would ask me to buy them beer all the time. Like I'd be walking into a liquor store all like, ready to buy beer, and I'd come out and they'd be like, dude, can you buy me some beer? Sure, man. Like there was this one liquor store that was run by these Vietnamese people, and I don't know. I guess just because the first time I came in, they didn't card me or anything, so they just assumed. So every time after that, I would come in there and I would buy like, just cases of beer because all these other people would be like, "Can you get us beer?" And I'm like 15 or 16 years old. Pretty funny.
You were that dude in elementary school that had the full-on stash that nobody else
Pretty
could
much,
do.
yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I think by the time I was in like 8th or 9th grade, I had a full-on mustache.
You're dating 30-year-old women.
Yeah. We won't go there. I had the full, Hackett chest hair going on and stuff.
Wow.
There you go.
Dang.
Still do, but it's not black like Hackett's. But you were sorry, I kind of did digress there, but you were talking about Carlsbad. The funny story about Carlsbad was that so I still lived up in Arcadia, but my aunt, my great aunt actually, my dad's aunt, lived in Oceanside, and I would stay at her house almost all summer because she would just drive me down to the Oceanside Pier and drop me off, and then pick me up in the evening, so I could just surf. And there was an arcade down there, and there was like a go-kart track and stuff right there by the pier. And she knew the guy that owned it. So I would basically go in there and play pinball for like hours for free. He would just give me these tokens and I would just, sit there forever. And, but anyways, I was at her house. It wasn't the summer. It was like my parents were on vacation or something because they would do that all the time, go on vacation without me and my sister. That's funny. But I was at her house and she was reading the Sunday paper, the Union Tribune. And there was an article that said skateboard track opening soon in Carlsbad. And I was like skateboard track? What is that? And I don't think there was any pictures, but so I talked her into taking me to look at it. So we drove to the Carlsbad skate park. It wasn't open yet. It was going to open. This was like on a Sunday, and it was going to open like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something. But I was still at her house. So I went there. There was people skating. They wouldn't let me skate. And I don't know who it was who was skating, and probably people I know now. But I came back on the opening day, which like I said, was either like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something. But and got to skate it. And I just remember being like so blown away that somebody actually built something just for skateboarding. Because before that, I mean, there was nothing that was built for skateboarding. It was either a ditch or a pool or a bank or whatever. But
Yeah.
so that was like the first thing that I ever saw that somebody had actually built for skateboarding. I was stoked. And then it was like, I feel like it was just in months or something, Concrete Wave opened and like Montebello and all these parks were just like popping up all over the place. And and then Skatopia.
Right. I'm going to put a few pictures up here as we talk. Just keep talking.
Well, another ironic
Yeah.
thing about like this scene down here was that when you come down here, I talked to somebody had told me that everybody was skating the street in La Costa and that, it was all like perfect, new and super like super smooth. I was into that whole like downhill street thing. So my aunt took me there and dropped me off, and I was just like stuck there all day. And saw a lot of those guys that I know now, but really didn't introduce myself to anybody. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I talked to some people, but and people were doing slalom, and I wasn't into that at all. So I was just carving the street, doing turns and that sort of thing. But that's pretty ironic to me that of all the places that I would ride my skateboard, living in Arcadia would be La Costa.
La Costa was a pretty intense scene, I thought.
Yeah.
It was pretty intimidating. I mean, those guys were so good at racing slalom. And,
Yep. That was it. I was intimidated, like you said.
Yeah, you go down, go through 4 cones and then blow the whole rest of the course out, and they get so pissed.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't even try. Yeah. And I remember seeing the G&M guys and thinking, whoa, those guys are pro. Yeah. They have matching clothes and stuff, like the Sims team, like the Sims guys, like you and G&M. I was just like, wow, man, look at that. I'm not in that zone, but whatever. I think I was kind of against it, to be honest. I felt like it was too too organized. Like, you know, to me, skateboarding was more like surfing, where you just, you just whatever.
Like as an individual person sport, or
Yeah, sort of. And I was never into contests. I mean, I probably wasn't ever good enough to be, but I just like the idea of like competing and doing it. Well, I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. I surfed in some contests, and you know that'll fuck with you big time. Like you know, you surf in a competition. I surfed in one contest where I got beat in the heat by a guy who'd never caught a wave. And it was just because they couldn't tell the difference between a white and a yellow jersey. So I got like 5 waves and pretty good ones, and he didn't get a single wave. I come in, and I'm all like pumped up, like I'm pretty sure I won that heat. And they put up the results on this funky board, and I'm like, what? I lost? Like, how's that possible? And when I brought it up to the judges, of course, the judges all knew this guy and stuff. But so I was like, I think I outscored that guy. Like, nope. And they wouldn't. And a couple of people even said, no, I think you're confusing yellow with white, you know. And they wouldn't reverse it. So I was like, you know, that's realistic, man. This is lame. I think I surfed in a few more, but later, much later, I don't know. Whatever. That was right after I started like actually stand-up surfing, because I used to be a kneeboarder, and then when I started standing up, it just changed everything for me. And that was ironic too. Like I was, because you know back in the '70s, kneeboarding was cool. Like I kneeboarded at Newport Beach and the Wedge and all the like really hollow spots. But then when I moved down here and met Grant, and Grant was a kneeboarder, I was like, cool, we're like kneeboard bros, and we would surf stuck outs, which like, you know, like the hollowest spot in Cardiff, and we would dominate, right, Grant? Where'd Grant go? I don't know. I think
he's there. Are you in the gallery? Are you in the gallery mode, Bill, or are you in the speaker mode?
I'm in the, I don't know what mode. Here we go.
Upper right-hand corner, you can change it to gallery.
I see Grant.
Hi.
Yeah, we dominated, right, Grant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark the Coats dominated.
Yeah, he did. Well, and then Grant lived with, who'd you live with at the time up at the top of the hill?
Apple and Rob and Dennis. 3 other people.
Because
Apple, Rich Apple.
Yeah, I
and
remember
Rob
Rich.
Moore.
Right.
And then Chip Lane lived there.
Chip, yeah, Chip Lane. That guy was rad. And then next door, wasn't it Jeff King or something?
Yeah, Jeff King. Well, he moved in where Wally and Ed were living.
Yeah.
Wally moved in with Jeff originally.
Oh, okay.
Then Strokel, then Waldo, then Curtis. We got another house in Cardiff.
Yeah, and then Terry Oliver moved in. They grew all that weed there. And then they left for Hawaii after they got their weed.
Yeah. Yeah, the first time I stood up was funny. So I was trying to teach Jim Alisi how to surf. We were out at Swami's, and I was on my kneeboard, and I'm like trying to show him how to stand up, and I'm on a kneeboard. So I just like stood up and rode that wave all the way in with my Churchill fins on, and like kicked out, and I was like, well, that was pretty cool. And then I paddled back out and I did it again. I stood up all that day. And then the next day I just bailed on the fins. And so for the first few years, I rode like a 5'3" Liz fish, or one of those, what was the other fishes that we would get from, not Nectar, but in Del Mar? What was that? Who was that shaped those? Was that the Hollingsworth brothers? Or yeah. Anyway.
Craig Hollingsworth.
Yeah. Yeah, I was riding his little fishes. But yeah, and working at Del Mar was just about surfing and skating and partying, like just like rotating that all day long. Like surf in the morning, work at the park, skate, you know, or get off, go surf, come back, skate at night. Yeah.
Those were days, man.
They were, totally. Christian Asoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
There's someone there from Del Mar a lot too. That was like the whole.
Gibson, Bill.
What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Christian?
I heard there's a Del Mar get together.
Kind of. We just talked about Del Mar too. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Wally.
Yeah.
And I heard it from Wally. Wally's the one that made me connect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
in fact, when I first came to Del Mar too, and Grant told me that Chris and Wally and Curtis had designed the park, I was like, "What? I know those guys. Like they're here now," and so that was pretty cool.
What year did you move to
78,
or North County, Bill?
1978.
78?
Yeah, right when the park like first opened. It was still being built when I started working there. We saw a lot of stuff go down there, man. That's for sure.
Hey, Endless, Nick will be here at 12:30.
Some of those people like
Hey,
seeing some of that stuff, you know, and the level, you know, of like Stropel taking the air so high, and I mean all that kind of stuff is just killer. Some of it was inspiring, some of it was discouraging for somebody like me. You know, you watch Christian Asoy do like a 9-foot backside air, and you're like, I'll never do that. So why am I doing this? But you know, just keep doing it. Oh,
what's up, Christian?
Hey, but one thing I saw just the other day that Grant Britton posted was the picture of Wally doing a front side carve in the reservoir. That was probably one of the most amazing photos I've seen, like on the planet. You know, and you know, I may have done big airs, but you know, style is like, to me, first. You know what I mean? Going high is cool, but I think style was a big part of like why we did things.
Good.
And Tex knows all about that. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
Christian, you know. What's up, bro?
He was raised by Stropel and Wally. You know what? You had
They took
really good, my friend.
Hey, I got mad respect, man. I walked in with those two guys, man, when I first showed up.
I mean, it is incredible, that photo that was shared with the Stropel cover and you doing that ollie with that Fausto took, that whole thing.
I know. Can you believe he took that photo? It's fucking weird as shit. That's crazy.
No, it just shows you that it doesn't matter who you're part of, what you do. It's how you do it that matters the most. And it was recognized. You know what I mean? There was no tracker or indie in that at all. It was straight, pure ripping with style.
Yeah.
Style matters, totally.
Yeah.
Hey, so you guys are talking about surfing, right?
We're all over
Yeah.
the place, yeah.
Yeah, so Wally.
No surfing allowed, bro. No.
Yeah. No, I heard him talk about surfing. I want to talk about that time.
Surfing is why we're here.
I know. Hey, Wally.
I started skateboarding
Hey, Wally, I want to talk about that time you took us to Trestles. It was me and you, Shogo, Curtis Hesselgrave, I think Stropel, and maybe Ray Bones, I think. And you handed the surfboard to me, go, here, carry it like this. And so we walked a mile from the freeway down to Trestles forever and get down to the beach. You go, look at you. You got wax on your shorts all over your body. Because he handed me the board wax towards my body. And I carried the board the whole way. You did that to me on purpose, man.
No, I did not.
You did too, man. You handed it to me. Go, here, carry it like this. I didn't know which way to carry it. But then
You looked at it, have you had
did it on purpose. I had wax all over my fucking side and my shorts. Because we walked like a mile to the beach, man.
Yeah, Trestles is definitely a long walk down to the beach.
And I'll never forget, man, going there. You know how Trestles is? Point Break, right? It's Point Break.
Yeah.
Everyone, it was packed, man. I mean, packed full of local Californians, man, you know.
Okay.
And I'll never forget Curtis Hesselgrave in the lineup on the point with like 20 other people fully elbowing. And I'm sitting there, I'm on the shoulder, just fucking, there ain't no way I'm going to be catching the peak. I was a shoulder hopper, you know. And fucking Curtis just fucking beating everyone, catching the wave. And then I remember Shogo, after Curtis would come in, Shogo would drop in on Curtis, cut him off, and then Shogo would go down and kick out and then let me catch the rest of it. The wave down.
Yeah, we gave you the scraps.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'll take it, man. That's all I deserve, man. You know, at least I got a little part. At least I can say I surfed trestles, man.
Ask Wally when he stole Stropel's car with no driver's license. Going to trust him.
Yeah.
Highway Patrol pulled him over.
Isn't that when we went to Oceanside?
Yeah, the Highway Patrol pulled you over. You couldn't see over the steering wheel. You would see your license. I don't got one.
Yeah.
Can't, Ed.
As he threw the chunk of hash out the window.
Yeah, Strobel had that fucking Falcon.
Yeah,
station
Wally
wagon.
stole it.
Drive around Cassidy Street, you know, in Oceanside.
Hey, John,
Even
you
let me drive
you
it.
got initiated, John.
No, dude, Wally made sure I was initiated every fucking time.
The benefits
For
of
days.
being the young guys.
It wasn't just one time. It was every day initiated. Man.
That's why you turned out so good. That's why
I
you
know.
turned
I
out
loved
so
it.
good,
I
John.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You being a skater and then trying to learn to surf, you know, it's like the opposite.
Oh, man, when I first went out there, I think the first time we went surfing was in San Clemente, and I barely knew how to fucking swim. And Wally drugged me out in the ocean, threw me in the fucking water, out into the waves, and fucking stuck me on a board and pushed me into the waves. I'm like, I was scared shitless, man, you know? Even though the waves weren't that big, I swear, I didn't know how to swim that good. But I wasn't going to admit that to y'all. But I'm admitting it now, man. I did not know how to swim that good. But I learned really fast. Thanks, Wally.
Yes, you do, right?
Yeah. That's how you do it. Just throw your ass in the water.
That's cool.
Swimming is kind of good to know first, but whatever.
So Bill, when did you start surfing? What year?
Kneeboarding? Well,
Yeah, same thing.
when I was like 12 or really young. Yeah, because my mom loved the beach. Even though we lived in Arcadia, we would go to the beach every day during the summer and then go. Yeah, that's a rip. With the Stinger Swallowtail board. That's that place I was talking about, the Rattlesnake Shake, with the crazy concrete walls.
Yeah, dig that board.
Yeah.
Look at that.
With like wood riser pads or something maybe too. I don't know. That's like a wood shop board, I think.
That's rad.
That's rad, butt chain.
Yeah. White cords. Yeah, you got to be stylish. Yeah, that was pretty early, like I said, really young, and as soon as I did, that was it, man. All I could think about was surfing, but you know, living inland wasn't that easy. So that's why I started skateboarding. So, you know, really surfing. Like Larry Bertleman was my hero, pretty much for forever. Like the first time I ever met him, I couldn't even talk. I was just like, it's Larry Bertleman.
Yeah. I used to ride my bike with my surfboard down the riverbed to Seal Beach.
Yeah, from where you were closer. I
Not much closer.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'd hitchhike too. I remember hitchhiking at like 13 years old down on the, and that's that S-Tray Bowl in Arcadia, TA, doing that area. I think I'm like standing in the pocket maybe, or I don't know about that picture. But yeah, I remember going, like, I would walk like miles and miles to the 605 and stick my thumb out on the on-ramp with my surfboard when I was like 13 years old. And I'd take a ride and I'd go surf, and then on the way back sometimes I'd get totally stuck somewhere weird. You know, somebody would pick you up and be like, well, I can take you to, you know, to like whatever, Azusa or something, you know, nearby. And then I'd be like, shit, I'm still like 10 miles from home. But I'd usually make it home by nightfall or something.
That's when the 605 freeway killer was running around too.
Yeah, sure.
It was the same time period.
Yeah.
He was out of Downey.
All right, there you go.
Sorry to pipe.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, I was talking to my buddy. So.
Who shot that?
Did you, Grant? Or Sonny? Sonny did.
Sonny, yeah. That's a rad shot.
I think it was one of his first published photos. It was in Thrasher back when, like, I think like the either second or third edition of Thrasher when it was the big paper, newspaper format.
What, that picture right there?
Yeah. Yep. And then on the same page,
Does that mean the background?
probably because I say you're in that same edition. There's a picture of you on the same like fold out page. It probably is you in the
It
background.
looks like me in the background.
Yeah, it does.
Look at there's no vegetation at all around the ditch.
It was
So
new.
that was brand new, probably.
That place, man. I think that's one of the best like ditches ever, for skateboarding. When it was new and you could ride it for like a mile and a half. You remember that wall?
Oh, yeah.
To the top, go way back there and then come down to that first section where it opened up and you go over the pipe or whatever, and then you go down the next big section and then all the way down, and then you get to the section where that pipe goes overhead. It was like so many walls and stuff. It's killer.
Where was that ditch?
I went down there in February, Bill, and up by that part's still rideable, and then the top part, they're doing a bunch of construction up there. I went down there with Tony to do that Vans thing.
Yeah, that picture of him in the pipe.
Yeah, and then we shot some skate photos down here too. He did ollie out, by the pipe. And then he did some backside Bertelmans and some front sides and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. When it was new, we would go there all the time. Sonny I had a bunch of 8mm movie footage that's really good, but I gave it to Sonny because he was going to use it somewhere, and I don't know, it's part of his estate now, so I haven't seen it in a long time. He's got a lot of footage, in fact, that we shot, like full pipes, Santa and that ditch, and a bunch of surfing videos and stuff. It's all.
Who has all his stuff?
His uncle Bill has it, but there's a couple of guys that have been talking with him to archive it all and do something with it, do like a tribute video or something, because he's got a lot. Yeah. That pool photo, that was, what's the story on that, Grant? Whose pool was that?
Rob. Yeah, that was Rob's pool in San Fernando Valley. Where was it? Northridge? I think Northridge.
Yeah, around there, yeah.
And we all went up there, and we were going to see Devo, right?
Yep.
And we stayed at Rob's pool, or Rob's house in San Fernando Valley. And then his parents were out of town, and they had emptied their pool to get it repaired. And so all weekend we just sessioned the pool, and I had just started shooting photos, I think, like a few months before, and I shot those with I think Jim Lisi's camera, maybe.
Yep.
And I didn't know.
Oh shit! Cuts everybody off.
It was one of the best pools. That's not it. That's Oceanside. It's one of the best pools I've ever seen. That pool.
Yeah. It was the subscribe shot that you ran earlier, Ken.
Oh,
basically, and then that tripping.
Right there.
Yeah, that was such like one of those, like, kind of the reverse kidney bean where the shallow end was the smaller part and the deep end was bigger. And the deep end was like really wide, and you can see like really the tranny. We only had like a foot of vert. It was just it was a dream. It really was.
We probably weren't high either during that.
Dude, like what were we not on? Seriously. I mean, crazy. And I remember too, I was like, I had like brand new shoes, and I was riding tracker trucks, which I didn't really ride because, I mean, I rode trackers a lot early, but then I started riding independents. And on that trip, for some reason, I had those. Oh, I think, didn't we decide that we wanted to have copers so we wouldn't scratch up the pool? Because in every photo, like me and Jim, we all have copers. So that's what that was.
But when they got home, they flipped out, and because they did have to do repairs on it and stuff, that we had done to it.
So good. I mean, man, that was a perfect pool. That was a fun trip.
They were Seventh-day Adventists too, so they weren't real cool with it.
Yeah.
They weren't cool with skateboarding, and
and we're literally tripping in their backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even remember the Devo concert. Don't remember it at all.
I have the ticket stub.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I don't remember. There's a lot of times Grant will tell me a story about myself and I don't even remember it. And I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, you don't remember that? Nope. That's why I got to keep Grant around to remind me of my life. Sad but true.
Well, you have to tell me the stories about me.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember your life, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Like when I got fired from Del Mar for having a food fight.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, that's a good
That was
story.
good. I was like, wasn't that me and like Shermy, Steve
You and
Sherman?
Tim Noel.
Yeah.
Wasn't
And-
Tim Noel there? And
Oh man, and
well,
Dave.
a bunch of them got fired, right?
Yeah, we just had
Two
a,
of them.
it was one of those like skate till midnight or something, and then turn off the lights, and then raid the pro shop, and then we were like throwing like Twinkies and snowballs over at each other and stuff, and we didn't clean it up. So the next morning, Wayne Searle was pissed. Isn't that the way it went down?
That's what I heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I heard about it the next day, and I just shook my head. And
And that started the whole ASL ramp, which
Yeah.
stood for Anti-Searle League, because Wayne Searle was the general manager of the skate park. And all the people that got fired by him, we got together and built a ramp. And that ramp was one of the first big mini ramps. In other words, it had a lot of flat and it had really mellow transitions, like stuff that we totally take for granted now. But and everybody skated that. I think Christian, you skated that. There was
yeah, I have photos of Christian there.
yeah, and Tony and like a lot of people. It was super fun.
You know, that's right by my house. That's like
Yeah,
probably 3 blocks down from where I live now.
Mark Isbell's parents' house. Mark Isbell had like the coolest parents on earth. Phyllis was her name. His mom. She was like, the sweetest, quietest lady, and they were a funny family because they basically lived on frozen pizza and burritos. Like his mom didn't know how to cook, so they had a big like freezer in the garage just full of frozen food. And we'd be skating and all the smoke would be rolling out of the house. We'd be like, the house is fucking on fire. And then Mark would be like, no, my mom's just cooking.
That's rad.
Funny. I almost got electrocuted there too. I was on we had one of those clip-on lights that was clipped on the rain gutter, and it kept like flickering on and off. And I climbed up an aluminum ladder and grabbed it, and it shorted out and like blew me off the ladder. I remember my hand was like pulsing for like an hour afterwards. It was just like, what the hell just happened?
Dang.
That explains a lot. But Wayne was cool though. We were just punks, And that entire ramp was built by wood that we got from construction sites. We would just go out on raids like every night. We'd like go and load up a truck full and be all freaked out that we're gonna get caught. And then we'd be like, should we go back for more? And we'd just go back and get more.
Hey, Ken,
Yeah.
that photo that frontside tucked me of Bill,
Yeah.
that's at that ramp, ASL ramp, the one you showed earlier.
Oh, okay.
In this photo, that pit bull's got a hold of my heel. Every time I would like do a quick turn right there, he would like reach out and try to bite me. So I purposely like slowed down, and he got a hold of my heel and almost pulled it off my skateboard. I think JT took that photo actually. But it's hard to tell. It's probably out of focus because he had a mask on. That's like super early skateboard, 1985 probably, 84, 85.
Your stance is like what? Powder stance on that thing?
Well, back then everybody's stance was on the tail because,
That's why they drilled them.
There was no concave in those boards. They were like,
What kind of board's that? Is that a Nectar?
it's a Sims.
Sims?
Yeah, it's like that first Sims, the FE 1500 or something. And we rode a lot of Nectars, Sims, Nectars, and Avalanches. Yeah, look how clean that is.
Look how clean that is.
I know, huh? Concrete looks all perfect.
No graffiti.
No graffiti. Yeah. None of those. It doesn't have the rip raff stuff in the back, that it does now. Like that whole section you could ride through. Now, in fact, just that one little like patch of dirt or something.
there like a
Such
wall ride back there under the pipe?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you could.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Those hips were rad right there.
Mhm.
That was the spot, man. That place was so fun. And around the,
Your hips are rad.
if you went up and if you went up and went around the corner, remember, Grant, there's that road. There's a little access road.
Yeah.
And on the side of that road, it had like these perfect little banks too, like the killer little like. Yeah, I was like, why'd they do that? Like one of them was even just like a pointed, almost like a hip. You look at it, and you're like, why'd they do that? You know, for skateboarding, obviously. I mean, trippy.
There's a photo of you on there doing a tail tap, right?
Yeah.
Sonny's walk. Sonny's Audi is parked in the dip.
Yeah. Trippy. We would just drive right in there. We'd drive by that whatever it is, water treatment plant. Just kind of be like, you know, we're supposed to be here. Nobody would say anything.
Yeah.
That's that rattlesnake shake thing again. You can see it already sketchy like transitions from the gravel, or I mean the asphalt road to the concrete.
Yeah.
Gary Fisher is the guy in the background. He's gone.
You're looking so hip there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I
You
say?
got the mod belt on and the white pants. Yeah.
It's like a Pepsi ad.
And my board was like really wide for the time, and look how narrow it is.
Man.
I remember when I made it and people were like, dude, what are you going to do with that? You know, are you trying to surf that thing? It's so wide. It was like maybe 8 inches wide. And this one friend of mine back then made a board that was 10 inches wide. It was 10 inches wide, and it was like kind of a squared nose and a squared tail. It's like the board was like this, and then the trucks and wheels were like that, you know, it hung over like that. But kind of ahead of his time, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Bill Mulatto was his name. He was rad. He's gone too.
Oh.
That's about it for me, Christian. That's about as high as I ever got. But that's
That looks so. That photo looks so good though.
Flyaway helmet.
Hell, dude.
which I got from
Wow.
Jay. I traded Jay some weed.
So sick.
Is that
Good trade.
Yeah, I wish I still had it. I didn't even, again, like, oh, the foam's all rotted out.
Did Elise shoot it?
Yeah, I think so. If it
Looks
wasn't,
like an Elise photo.
yeah, if it wasn't you, it was Jim. Yeah, at least he shot a lot of photos.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's still coming
What
up.
kind of wheels are those?
Huh?
What kind of wheels?
Bones, I think. Bones Cubics, right?
Look like cubics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rode those a lot. I loved those wheels back then. No idea what the deck is. And I never, any deck I ever had, I either drew on or painted or like I don't think, well, maybe really early on some of the Sims boards because they were so cool to have a Sims board. But otherwise, I wasn't into like the graphics or whose board it was or anything. And then the Resi, there's a bottom turn.
Are you wearing a mask there?
No, I have a beard and it's all white. If I grow my beard out, it totally turns white. I didn't shave. We were there for 15 days. I didn't shave for 20 days or something. Super fun.
Who shot that picture?
Bong is his name. Dodie Chandler. He's the captain of the boat.
Okay.
With a telephoto from the boat.
Killer.
Told him that was the one picture I wanted was because I'd seen pictures of that spot. It's called Burgers or Burger World. And, with all crazy palm trees in the background. I told him I just want one photo on this whole trip. I want that shot of the palm trees and stuff. That's like inside. Yeah, that was a really fun day. Really good. Hit the reef a couple times.
I got somebody. I had to turn that off for a second. I had to let somebody in.
Yeah, if you've ever wanted to go on a surf trip, that's the trip, man. The Mentawais, a boat trip in the Mentawais, because so many surf spots and just, man, it's always good, like somewhere every day and just incredible. Water's, 85 degrees. It's like jumping into a bathtub. It would shock me every time I'd jump in and be like, oh, that's right. It's really warm.
Wow.
Surf all day. The only reason you come in is because you get so freaking sunburned because it's right on the equator. So no matter what you put on, you just get fried. But really fun. And now that trip actually started. That was like the first Old Bro Mentawai trip. And since then, there's been 3 more. We're just basically old bros, like skaters, go on that trip. And the owner, DK, David Klein, is like super generous and gives everybody like, basically they just go on the trip for cost. So their payment just covers the cost of taking the boat out there and stuff, which is super cool. So if you want to go on a trip, talk to DK.
Right.
I think that's another Sandland. Oh, that's the ASL ramp with PVC coping.
Hmm.
That's your shot, huh, Grant?
Yeah.
Jim had one of that same session. That was one of my favorite shots. And then one day Grant just goes, "Boink, oh yeah," and pops up with a way better one. But, whatever.
That's the way I run.
Yeah, I know. You hold them back and then like, take that. It's like throwing a card on the table. It's probably more like he went through the box of all the stuff he was going to throw away and was like, "Oh, well, there's this one of Bill. I guess I could show that one."
I'm just so disorganized. That's it.
I mean, I never saw that photo before. You had it for what, 40 years, and you never like, it's like, oh well, no, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
That's
That's badass photo right there.
That's that pool, man. There's
Yeah.
Grant kicking it in the background.
One wheel,
Yeah.
What pool is that?
pull and grab.
Rob's pool. Grant.
Rob's pool up in San Fernando. The
Hoopers.
guy I used to live with down in Cardiff. And that was
Oh,
his
that's cool.
parents left town and we took over the pool.
I mean, it's
Badass.
like, it's pretty much like the Encinitas Y kidney, but actually mellower, which is crazy for a backyard pool.
Oh, people would rip that thing now.
Oh,
Yeah.
people
Hey,
destroy it.
what was that pool in downtown San Diego? Did you skate that, Bill?
The Soul Bowl? Or,
No.
Cortez.
No, or what was it called? It was like
El
downtown.
Cortez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever did. But
Yeah.
look at that
I
hip.
skated that one. It was fucking badass, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
That hip looks like a
guys
skate.
from San Diego, I thought guys might have wrote it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody but me. Grant probably took a bunch of people there, but not me.
No, I only went there once with Chris.
Actually, I skated it with Gator and Delgado. So
Back then, yeah.
yeah, kind of weird combination there.
Grant photo, top of the half pipe at Del Mar.
That's Del Mar half pipe.
Yeah, it's like my favorite.
It's hard for me to see the photos. That's badass. I like that half pipe at Del Mar. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a little weird with this really round lip and stuff, but
Yeah.
That poinsettia ditch.
yeah.
Yeah.
People skate that all the time now. They've done a bunch of DIY stuff there. There's like ledges and little extra
Right.
things, and I stopped by one day.
Get out of it. Didn't they put blocks all over it, or
Yeah, there's
for a while? Or?
all those are gone. Remember
Oh.
they did little like cement speed bumps all over it to keep people from skating it. Those are all gone. Somebody's gone through and chiseled them all out. I went there. I was driving by it like, I don't know, a month or so ago, and I saw a guy skating it, so I stopped and I walked up. Totally like the typical old man. These guys are like 18 or whatever. Here comes this like 60-year-old man. I used to skate this thing back in the day. So they're probably just looking at me like, man, like they had skateboards back then. But I told them how, we used to session that thing like crazy, and they were kind of stoked. I told them it was in magazines and stuff. Typical old bro sesh, pretty much. A lot of faces in there. Trying to see who else there. I can see a lot of different people. I don't know what my wife's doing.
Is that your sister in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She loves it here. That's not too long ago, even. I don't think. I have so many of those photos like that. I probably have 20 photos like that with all those people. Yep. Santa Land full pipes, man. I think that's my favorite skateboarding memory, really, skating those. It just didn't get any better. They were so perfect, and This is towards the end when they were almost gone, because in the beginning when we started skating them, it was a solid line from those to the ones in the back, and probably even farther. There'd be like, 25 sections in a row lined up, and they'd all be like just barely offset. So, like I'm doing right there, you jump from one to the other. And that was before the ollie was invented. So basically doing airs without holding on, it was a big deal back then. For me, it was.
We used to admire those in the magazines. Couldn't believe it.
That is
unbelievable.
Pretty unbelievable. I mean, just going there. I remember that was my old man's ranchero, I think. Not an El Camino, but a ranchero. And it was like full on army green. So we would drive so that we wouldn't get busted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How'd you get in? Was it on the base?
Yeah.
How'd you get in?
Somebody had like a base pass. Did Sonny or somebody's? Maybe it was JT. Somebody's family was in the military, so they had like a pass.
So is that San Onofre when they were building the nuclear plant?
Yeah, that's like
those pipes before.
That's like just east of where the power plant is, east of the freeway.
Yeah.
Weird, because back
which is by Trestles, right?
Yeah, right by Trestles.
Yeah.
What year is that, Bill?
Probably 79 or 80. Yeah, maybe a little later. I think we skated them till like 82 even. So maybe
really. And I was out there and I didn't get to skate him. Wally, damn man, why didn't you take me there?
Yeah.
Some places you can't take a lot of people.
Yeah. Exactly.
You were busy cutting off Shogo.
Yeah. No, Shogo was
dropping in on
people off and let me shoulder hop in, man. Wally was too busy making me walk with my surfboard, rubbing wax against my side all the way down. Instead of walking to the pipes, man.
It's the hazing that we do to Texans.
But that's badass, man. That's killer.
That photos, that was supposedly in a French magazine, not a skateboard magazine, just like a French magazine. That whoever that photographer was there one day and kept like do a maneuver right here. You would stand and you'd have to like circle back and do something right in front of him. But he got some really good photos.
Is that Skatopia?
Yeah.
No, we just put the sign up.
Jeez.
It looks like the half pipe. I don't know.
It is. It's that.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, look at the sign in the background. You got glasses on, Spatola?
Yeah, it ain't Del Mar, man.
I know that.
Quicksilver shorts. That was pretty much like Quicksilver board shorts, man. Back then, we lived in them, because you just surfed and skated and washed them once a month or something, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Ball rash all day.
That's
PC
cool.
Bowl.
PC Bowl.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
That's one of my favorite photos that I've shot.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a great shot.
I think
And
that's
where's
the day we got
where's that
busted by
again?
the sheriff.
Yeah, it is.
Along in the bushes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember, we shot that like stop motion video too. I don't know where that is. Remember we did it on a Super 8 camera where there was a trash can somewhere and you would like start at one part in the back and I would shoot a couple frames and then you would move up and I would shoot a couple frames and you would move up. So when we played it, you were all like just like sliding on the ground without moving your feet. And then you were standing next to the trash can and you and then disappeared and then appeared in the trash can. It was like total cinematic genius, you know what I mean? We were so ahead of our time.
Yeah, we were high.
Yeah. Every time I would go there, it was just like bong loads the whole way there. And I never knew how to find the freaking place because every time I would go, I'd just be in the back seat. And so it was like to this day, I probably wouldn't even know how to get there.
Swift and I drove up there. This was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And we found it, but it took us, and that's before you can look at Google Maps and everything.
Yeah.
And we found it after driving around for about an hour.
Right.
Everything had changed.
You couldn't see it until you got right on next to it.
Yeah. That's nice.
Go back to that pipe photo. There's I always like seeing Sonny Miller standing there next to Jim Alisi.
Wow.
Yeah, and full pipes, man. Gotta love them. Somebody cut the frame off the top.
That is so small. I mean, on my phone, the picture, not the pipes.
Oh, they're pretty big. Yeah, so
Hold on.
I double grab super tuck.
That lapper is great.
I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, it was like one of those like a handrail thing.
Yeah.
Because we had wood coping. The coping was made out of wood stair rail stuff, so you would like hang up so easy. So I put that thing on, and I could do disasters and stuff back then, which was rad. But that was probably on there for like a week. I don't know.
Is that like a rail? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rad.
Is it over another one though? Another?
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, so there was those little black lapper things, and then I put that rail, because even the black lapper thing would hang up on the wood coping, you know.
Wow.
And I remember Grant said, wear something colorful. He was gonna meet me there, so I took a shirt and like splattered it with all kinds of different colored paint and stuff. And Grant shows up and he's just laughing. He's like, I said colorful, not totally obnoxious, but all got tossed into the trash bin anyways. I think he was cleaning out his garage once again one year and was like, "Hey, look, I got these photos."
Hey, Bill, I'm going back out there today, so
Really?
stay tuned.
Okay. You supposedly have a good picture of me doing a backside air that I've never seen, and I don't have any pictures of me doing a backside air. And I remember you were doing a slideshow at Del Mar, and I didn't go. And then somebody was like, "Dude, it was a great photo of you doing a backside air." And I'm like, well, "Okay."
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. Still never seen it. You probably took the carousel after the show and then went, Bill Billing.
I've done a lot of that.
I know. You got to purge. At least you're not like Jim Goodrich, who like literally threw away like 75% of his photos. And then,
I only threw away stuff that was out of focus. I've been going through photos and there's arms missing, heads missing. I kept them because they were in focus. And now I'm starting to get rid of some shit.
Well, that last one you popped up of me was like pretty trippy with some of it out of focus and some of it in focus. That was a cool one. Yeah, not a lot of people have skated there.
Dropping in the pyramids?
No, I've actually skated quite a few times. I think that was like on my second or third trip over there. Now you can't really get away with that now. They sort of frown on it for some reason. I mean, the last couple of years we were there, the cops like straight up rousted us, and all we were doing was skating down this road that goes kind of between the pyramids and up to this viewpoint, like and they rolled up on us and like, man, they wanted to confiscate the cameras and stuff, and they were just going nuts because the guy that was with me, Todd, was shooting a documentary, and so he had like a lot of really good equipment, so he looked all professional like, and they thought we were doing it for profit, which I guess we sort of were, but not really. But so yeah, they wanted to take his camera away, and then it was funny, and then they wanted to take the card, but then he was like, well, look, I'll just delete them all, but if you delete them, you can still like recover them. So he deleted them, and they bought that one, so they're like, okay. And eventually we had to bribe them, and eventually they left us alone and we bailed. But yeah, the Egypt story is pretty good, pretty fun one. Just going out there and teaching kids how to, well, not really even teaching them, just kind of exposing them to skateboarding, I've never been much of a proponent for teaching people how to skateboard. It's one of those things you just got to do and learn on your own, otherwise if I teach you how to skateboard, you're going to skateboard like me, and you don't want that. So so I would just show these kids, but really rewarding, having kids that have never even touched a skateboard go from that to, by the end of the week, being able to totally skateboard. And now with a skate park there, being able to like carve and kick turn and kick turn on vert and stuff after 1 week of skateboarding. It's really cool. They're just so pumped, it's like you forget that feeling of just being able to like ride a skateboard and do turns and stuff, because we all take it for granted so much. So that whole thing's been really rewarding for me anyways.
How did that start, Bill?
I went there with my wife and daughter on a short-term missions trip with our church, and I was going to teach swimming, which is a total cop-out in the Egyptian heat. But
good idea.
She wanted to do something, go somewhere, and also sort of expose our daughter to stuff. Like when she was little, we would take her to like homeless shelters and feed the homeless and stuff, and just get her out of her little bubble of Carlsbad. Talk about the life, born and raised in Carlsbad, a block from the beach back then. So she was going to pick something. Of course, I was like pushing for like Argentina or I don't know, or somewhere with surf, and basically. And then she was like, how about Egypt? There's no surf there. And I was like, okay. I mean, that's the way I remember it going down. But anyway, she probably knows better. But so I went, and of course I just brought some skateboards because it's a kids camp, like a kids summer camp, just like we have here, just kids go for the summer. And they had like I had no idea what to expect, but it was really rad camp. Like they had, a big giant pool. They had a zip line, climbing wall, all these other sports, but obviously skateboarding. So I just brought the skateboards, and there was like 4 kids that I got to go out on the basketball court and skate. And then we built a little mini ramp, a little quarter pipe out of like super crazy old wood and ancient wood and stuff. In fact, I used no screws. I asked them for a box of screws, or I asked them for some screws, and they brought me like 5 screws, and they're like, here you go. And I'm like, no, I need like a box. And they looked at me like I was crazy, like a whole box of screws. Like, you can't do that. And so they brought me nails, and I'm like, I guess that'll work. And then this old man who didn't speak any English showed me a trick. He took the nails, he put them in a bucket of water overnight, and then took them out, and they rusted so that when you would nail them in, the rust would keep them from backing out. And I used a hammer. I used a hammer that was a 200-year-old hammer. So this guy, I asked him if I borrow hammers. I got nothing. This guy lends me his hammer, and I'm looking at this thing like, this thing's rad. Like, it looks like it came, out of the pyramid or something. And I asked him how old it was and stuff, and he said it was like it had been in his family for 200 years, for like I forget how many generations. But so that was kind of wrong. But anyways, after that first time, my daughter wanted to go back, so we went back, and then I brought more skateboards, and then pretty soon I started. Well, they really dug it, so they were like, we can make this like one of our sports. And I'm like, okay, that'd be cool. I can go and we can do skateboarding. And that was back, before Facebook and stuff. And SoCal Skate Shops, remember the SoCal Skate Parks website? That was like the forum where people would communicate and stuff. I would put out there about getting skateboards and stuff donated, and yeah, people just like pulled through. Like I would bring like 20, 30 skateboards at a time. Then eventually I started hitting up sponsors to do it. George Powell has always been like super generous. Like basically send him an email and he sends me like 12 completes every time I ask. And so he's donated probably, I don't know, 70 skateboards to the cause, completes. And over the years I've brought like 250 probably. But yeah, so I kept going back, and we just kept teaching kids how to skate. And we built some more wood ramps. The wood ramps were super funky and falling apart because all the wood comes from Russia, and it's like just crap wood, and it lasts like one season. And so I eventually talked him into building a concrete skate park. And I was like in 2010, I was trying to talk him into it. And then I started reaching out to skate park builders, and it was kind of, I don't know, it's pretty frustrating because they either didn't want to be involved because it was at a Christian camp. But the funny thing is, the Christian camp, Muslim world that allows Christians and Muslims, Jews and whatever all to come together and play as kids, So to me, it was that was my whole or the main appeal to me, anyways. But anyway, so a lot of these skate park companies didn't want to have anything to do with it, and it's kind of frustrating. But some of them quoted me like $1 million and stuff, and I was like, what? I'm looking at, I'm going to raise all the money myself. And I was at Barefoot Mike's pool in Oceanside, and I was just looking at that, going, man, this thing's built like perfect. You know, it's not really what I would build, but it's freaking perfect. And he's like, oh, well, he's the one who built it, Tim Trudell. And so I met Tim that night, and like in the first sentence, I'm like, hey, do you want to go to Egypt and build a skate park? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So literally that night, it was like, okay, I got a guy. He's like, yeah, I got guys that'll come. And he brought, you know, Ben and Carter from Hawaii. And I raised, like, well, not solely, but me and others in my church, $35,000, and that paid for the skate park and those 4 guys, their, you know, their flights, all their meals, staying there for a month, which, you know, obviously you couldn't do here. But they, in 4 weeks, they knocked it out from like drawing lines in the sand with a bag of lye to a skate park, finished skate park 4 weeks later. Wow. Yeah, it's rad. They did a killer job, and that was during the revolution. So, so luckily they were kind of like safe out there in the desert at the camp. But when I went to leave, because I didn't stay the whole time, I got like stuck at the airport for like 24 hours, and there was a full-on riot going on in the airport. It was gnarly. I ended up being stuck in Cairo for a while, but I got out. But that skate park's really cool. Like it's made. I should have sent you a picture. I should put one up, but whatever. You guys can look for it if you want. It's kind of designed so that kids learn how to carve, you know. So instead of like just doing fakie tricks all day long, they need to like carve it front side, backside. So it's sort of like the influence from my youth. So it's a ditch, like a ditch run, but the trannies are really good. And at the top, it's got like a little bowl, and then at the bottom, it's basically the same dimensions as the old bro ramp, but it's 6 inches. It's like 6 inches taller, so it's 7.6 tranny, so it goes to 7.6 instead of 7 like that. With the same width and the same trannies and everything at the end, it's just a bowl. So it's killer. It's like if it was here, I'd skate it all the time. It's super fun, and they did such a great job. Like the concrete's perfect. Yeah, a lot of guys have gone out there and skated and stuff. They seem to have a good time. Like Cat.
Yeah.
God,
didn't Radigy go out there?
He did, and Eddie's story was funny because yeah,
he sent me pictures of himself.
Yeah, he reached out to me about going and doing a camp, and I'm like, well, because there's only kids at that camp certain times of the year, and the rest of the time things empty, right? So
yeah,
I told him like, you can go, but there won't be any stuff going on at the skate park. But he's like, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, I'll just teach him to street skate and stuff and all this stuff. And then when he got out there, like the first night, he's like, when do I go to the skate park? I'm like, dude, I told you weren't going to the skate park. It's not, you know. But I did like arrange for him to go out there and ride it. So I think he went out and rode it by himself. But
you should have never let him ride it. Made him stay away.
I'm just letting, because we talked about it so many times on the phone. And when he first he was like, when do I go? And I'm like, dude, I told you.
He's so pushy. You know how he is.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool though, because, you know, he like paid his own way and went by himself, and, you know,
yeah,
dedicated.
I remember he told me about it. He sent me pictures and, you know, text messaged me pictures and stuff about it.
Yeah. He was going through some life stuff, and he needed like to get away, you know, and get in touch with himself. It's cool. I'm stoked that he did.
Yeah, I understand.
Did he dine and dash?
Huh?
Did he dine and dash?
We call it Wahoo.
That's another story.
Yeah, we won't tell that one. Gary Spatola was like the first person that I sent without me going. Yeah, which was a big, brave like step. I remember I couldn't go that year for some reason, and I put out like on social media, does anybody want to go and, you know, teach skateboarding at this camp in Egypt? And that was before the skate park, so it wasn't even as fun. And Gary was like, I'll go. And so yeah, he went out all by his lonesome, right? Or no, you hooked up with like another crew or something, another team of people from another church or something.
That's right, man. I know Gary from Facebook. He's my friend on Facebook. I mean, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Hey, Bill, do you have problems taking all that gear in, like all the boards and everything?
Yeah, you can't. it has to be like your personal luggage. So we always bring like each person brings 2 giant suitcases, and we load it all up in there. And sometimes in customs they'll look at it, but so far we've never had that happen, like anything confiscated. But yeah, you can't ship it. If you shipped it, they would never arrive, because their whole system's so corrupt. Anything that's worth anything just is gone. The one time though, when we did go to build the skate park, that was kind of funny, because so I had the 4 guys, and the 4 guys each had 2 big like army duffel bags full of tools and for building the skate park and stuff. And we were pulling into LAX. We had this big van full of us and all the gear in the back, and they had the gnarly security that year for some reason. Well, let me think. That was 2011, so it was like maybe because of 9/11. But
It's safe to say.
yeah, so when we pulled into the airport, all these guys like with machine guns and stuff came and surrounded the van, and this is in LAX, and opened up the back, and they're all looking at all the army duffel bags, and the guy comes back to the window and he's like, "You guys special ops?" And we're all looking at each other. We got Carter, who's got like dreads to his waist, and Tim Trudell, special ops Tim Trudell, and we're all we're going. Where are you headed? We're going to Egypt. And they looked at us again, and what are you doing there? We're like, we're going to build a skate park, and they just looked at us all weird, like, really? And one guy's all, well, that's pretty cool. All right, see you later. So he waves us through. So then long story, because we had to pay crazy extra baggage fee, because every single bag was way over the limit, but we paid like $2,200 in extra baggage fees or something. But then when we got to Egypt and the Cairo airport, all that stuff is like, coming down these conveyor belts and stuff, and they held it all up. Like normally, they don't even check your luggage really there that much, but all these like army duffel bags, I think, caught their attention. So they had them all pulled aside, and they were questioning Carter, like the mellowest guy on earth, Hawaiian dude. He's over there just like, looks totally like afraid, because these Egyptian cops are surrounding him and stuff. And I get through and I run up there, and I'm all, what's going on? And Carter's like trying to explain, and he doesn't know what to say. And because we're not really supposed to say what we're doing. I said, we're here to build an orphanage for Muslim children. And the guy's all, oh, really? He's like, he gets these other guys to come help, and they like take all our stuff out and bring it out to the curbside, and they're all like, shukran, shukran. It was really cool. I was like, all right, we made that. But,
that's classic.
Going there is a trip. It's always a trip. It's really safe though, so if anybody ever wants to go, because that option's always out there for any of you guys that want to go and do that.
That's killer. So the old bro, you're sitting in front of it. People watching this probably want to ride it. Like, what inspired that, and why did you make it, and what does it do?
That was that came together at one of the Skatopia reunions. I was at one, I think the first one, maybe, right? The 30-year reunion that you did. Yeah. So I was there, and we lived in the house on Tamarack down by the beach, and the backyard was about the size of that ramp, basically. And we started talking about, like, we should build something for us to skate, so we don't have to always go to skate parks all the time. And like right there that day, people like literally wrote me checks and gave me money and stuff. For like, yeah, I want in, like, I want to do it, And so, yeah, people just donated money, and we built that ramp down on the house at Tamarack, and it was called the Old Bro because it was just put together by a bunch of old bros, So the bros came together and we built it.
Are they still alive?
No, I'm the only one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was like, Ken was in on it, and Dale Arden, maybe Dan Colburn in the beginning. Jeff Vogley was, a huge part of it. Chris Teets. I'll probably lose people out and they'll get all butthurt, but no, a lot of guys that in the beginning it was like a small tight crew. I think the very first day we skated it, Hacken and Olson skated it. But then shortly after it was built, we had to move out of that house. And we just like got it done, and it was like months later we had to move. So we took it all apart, cut it into big sections, and then moved it to this house and put it all back together. And at that time, we went from the whole like don't tell anybody and it's private and I don't want people coming over to a 180 to like well, you've seen, you guys have probably been there.
Oh, really died?
100 people, or I mean,
Real
80
wicked.
people.
Right.
What's cool about it is it's there's a lot of people out there that can probably say that they started skateboarding again after not skating forever, for whatever reason, because of that ramp, because they would come over and be like, I haven't skated in 20 years, but I think I could still do it. And they start riding and they're like, it all comes back and they're like, yeah. And next thing you know, they're skateboarding every day, so many people like that. It's
So like they're too tripped out to go to some local skate park and be around a billion little kids.
Egos, you were a pro skater in the 70s and 80s, and now you don't skateboard anymore, and you don't want to go like kook out in front of some kid or something, I guess. I don't know. And,
people with shirts on.
Yeah, people with shirts on and wearing pads, it's like, you don't want to be yelled at by some kid for wearing knee pads. But, yeah, a lot of people would come and then they would like totally get back into skating. So that's a really cool thing about that, really, for me, just seeing that happen. It's kind of, I mean, sort of the same for me. It really definitely rejuvenated my skate.
What's the plan now?
The plan now is for Jeff Falk to take that thing. He wants it. It was supposed to happen literally like 2.5 months ago. I don't know what happened. Something weird happened in the world 2.5 months ago. But yeah, he's going to take it to his house. He's going to do the same thing we did, take it apart. Because basically, if you take all the skin off, the skate light and the plywood, it's all like in sections and bolted together. So you can just, once you do that, you can just unbolt everything. And the sections are freaking heavy, but still they can be moved. So anyway, he's going to take it, put it back together at his house, and probably bowl in this side of it. And then we're going to build a concrete bowl, dig a bowl, and do a concrete bowl that's going to be like the new old bro, and be really mellow and just super fun, because we're all like getting a little older. But yeah, that's the plan. It'll be great.
Are there critters living under there?
Totally. Yeah, lots of rabbits.
What animals?
A squirrel. Rabbits, one squirrel for sure. I've let like 4 snakes go underneath the thing, but I never see them. Snakes that I've found that are caught at work, like gopher snakes and stuff. Yeah, there's a whole like ecosystem going on underneath there. Actually, it's a trip. It's if you go under there, it's like a time machine. Nothing really changes. In fact, there's I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know who knows that story, but you can see there's that tree back there that looks like it's coming out of the ramp. That tree was cut down right in the very middle of the ramp. Like when we got here, there was this like beautiful garden back there with all these roses and flowers and plants, and that was the first thing we did was like chainsaw and just cut everything out. And I cut that tree down to the ground right in the middle of the ramp, and it freaking came back and made its way out of the ramp. It's pretty big too. It's a coral tree.
Wow.
If you look under there, it goes from like, there's like this stump, and then there's it goes into a bunch of little like small like vines and stuff, and snakes around underneath it, and then it pops out and then gets big again and turns into a tree. Trippy. It's a survivor. But,
Hey, well, awesome stories, Bill. I have to scoot out of here, you guys. So I'll see you in the rebound.
Later, Wally.
Yeah.
See you, Wally.
thanks for being here, Wally.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my screen. I went blank. Can you guys see me?
I can see you. Is there let's see what you do. You push some kind of maybe you're not in the program or something?
No, I didn't touch anything.
You're
Weird.
there.
Keep filling with it. There's Pat normally. Oh, he's gone. I'll see if I can
Bye,
get him
Bill.
back. He hit the wrong button. Let me see if I can get him back.
Man, Ed has a full museum there, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Amazing looking Ed's garage, man. Jeez.
Yeah, just sitting in my neighbor's side of the lawn right now. I was like, you could hear.
Do you still go to the flea markets early, Ed, before COVID? And you still actively?
No, I actually got hired by the big estate company to set up all the garages and clean all the yards out before the estate sales. So I get to pick before they get picked.
Nice.
Besides my antique store, you know.
And that antique store moved off of the street onto a side street right by there.
We're still on PCH in Long Beach, but off Obispo.
Yeah, right around the corner up on the left, right?
Yeah, we're going to open again next week, finally, hopefully. But it's fun. Excuse to buy more crap.
My son works at Starbucks. He's 25, and he moved up to Huntington when this thing all started up with his girlfriend. And then he started coming down this week. They started working again this week. And then he just texted me, and they got closed down again because somebody got coronavirus that he worked with.
Oh, man.
In Huntington Beach?
So, no, here in Encinitas.
Oh, okay.
So he was commuting the last week from Huntington Beach to come back to his old job that he had been on furlough from. And then he worked this week, and now they're closed down for 2 more weeks again because somebody got a fever and somebody he worked with. So
that's why I drink Miller Lite. I'm Corona free.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe.
Did you hear, when at first they said they were going to quit making beer and stuff, and that it might have been a PR stunt or something?
Really?
Because they said their sales went down and everything, and now they're saying that it might be a PR stunt. So, I don't know.
Well, people are drinking more because they're stuck at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bill said that his battery went out on his laptop. So he just said to say thank you to everybody. And
well, I think he disappeared right when Wally did. They probably went surfing.
That could be what it was. They snuck away,
They left you behind, Gibson.
Yeah, they went to Trestles.
But you guys are welcome to stay as long as you want, whatever you want to do. I know, Christian, I found somebody gave me a bunch of pictures from Rich Rose and Matt Cook and their view over in
He's on mute. He thinks he's.
Oh, he's muted?
Yeah.
Oh.
So John.
Had all better? Of you and I think it might have been Lance. You're very young and you were skating a contest in Lakewood. Do you remember that contest?
Oh, yeah. Tony Alva, Olson, Taters was commentating.
No, not that one.
Which one was it?
The Lakewood Pro-Am, right?
Was that what it was?
No, it's the Clam Bowl, right?
Yes, the Clam.
Yeah, the Clam
They
Bowl.
didn't have a contest in the Clam Bowl, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Man, that Clam Bowl was only open for like a month or 2, man.
Yeah.
And I skated it right when they opened it.
But they
You
had
probably would you probably would have won the contest, but since you weren't there, bro.
Well, you guys are lucky, motherfuckers.
My only competition was Paul Molina.
What? That guy from the Astros?
Exactly.
I know who that guy is.
Yeah.
And so who won? Paul won?
No, he didn't win.
Is that Kiko?
I believe that's Lance Mountain.
That's some Venice guy skating down the boardwalk, it looks like, man.
Yeah.
Some wannabe shut up and skate crew guy.
Yeah. Hey, so Christian, since we're on here, this thing I've been wanting to talk to you about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was riding for Caster, I stayed with you at your mom's house over on what was that, off Wilshire, whatever.
Yep.
We wake up in the morning, we talk to your mom goes to work, and we're making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm fucking making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I got peanut butter in the jelly. And you go, hey, dude, get that fucking peanut butter out of the jelly. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I just laughed. Continue making my sandwich. You go, no, I'm fucking serious, dude. You get this peanut butter out of this jelly, or my mom's gonna be pissed. And I was like, are you fucking serious? And I continue making my sandwich. He's like, no, dude, I'm fucking serious. Get this peanut butter out of the fucking jelly. I'm like, okay, man, I get it. So I scooped it out of the jelly. And I fucking, you go, motherfucker, get that jelly out of the sink, man.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Oh,
I love that.
he got knocked off there.
I love that story.
I think his
That was
signals went
amazing.
out.
Wally just picked him up.
He did.
That was amazing.
He's back. He might have a sort of a weak signal over there.
Where was that last photo? I mean, who took that last photo, Christian? That one at Del Mar?
I think that was Rich. Rich, who's the cook?
Rich
cooking.
Rose.
Yeah, Rich Rose.
Yeah.
That's a sick photo.
Yeah.
But Grant, that backside ollie photo with the hand-done hammerhead graphic, wow. That's one of my favorite photos, I think, ever.
That's from a sequence.
That was
Pulled that out of a
amazing.
sequence.
And then you've seen how many people reacted to it and reposted it.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I couldn't believe it. It really touched people in a way that was just, it was incredible. That's definitely.
I'm just trying to cheer
I'm
people
back.
up.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Yeah. Where were you at with the jelly?
Yeah, damn it. I was pissed, man, and you were angry.
I don't know.
I was like, you can't be that mad about peanut butter and jelly.
In my
So
pants.
did you learn your lesson, John? I mean, do you still do that, or?
Did I teach you anything?
John, do you still make homemade goober?
Who, me?
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly in the same jar, homemade goober.
Because I know I didn't teach you bone tracks.
Fresh, separate, man. You know. But I did learn my lesson over Christian's house, man.
And then goober jelly came out right after that.
Yeah.
Yes. No, and then
Millions.
remember Christian that night we fucking went out. He fucking pulled up in the VW bus. I think it was Oster was driving. And we all drove and went to Rustler's Club. Went and partied that night. It was fun. Rustler, the guy from fucking Freddy Krueger. The guy that got hung at Freddy Krueger's thing.
Yeah.
He was in Thrasher too. And stuff.
Thrashing.
Hey, I was in Hollywood, man. It was great. Fucking cool.
We had some good times, buddy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were kids when we first started skating together. I think you were like 11, and I was like 13,
Exactly.
14.
Yep. Yeah,
How long
that's
has it been since you've seen each other, you and Christian?
Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Jeff Phillips.
yeah. Oh, Phil Pod.
Phil
I tried
Pod.
You know, we had to inaugurate him last year. He had his friend do it. I tried to step in and say a few words. Thought it was okay. I don't know what happened. But this year, if it ever happens, I bet it's not going to happen. I bet it's going to be a Zoom fucking Hall of Fame. We're all going to be on Zoom. That's probably what's going to happen, right?
I doubt it. I think at the end of the year they'll have it.
You think California will allow someone from Texas to come in there?
No.
We'll just have it in Texas.
Yeah. See,
We'll have it in Texas.
You can drive.
Oh, they might let someone from New York, but fucking not Texas. Huh?
whoever's getting whoever's getting inducted, wherever they live is where we're gonna have it.
All right. That kind of sounds good. And I don't understand, but that makes
Like,
sense.
why should they fly out and then the people who live here have to, not drive far?
Well, aren't they going to fly me? Or do I have to fly
Because
out?
then all your family, everyone's family from who's going to be inducted needs to fly. You know what I mean? It'd be almost better to go to where the people who are being inducted are
No way.
living.
I want to go to LA downtown.
Are you falling down?
Huh?
You look like you're falling down, John.
No, that's my phone falling down like this. Look.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, 'cause I'm on my phone. Are you on your laptop? Your iPad?
It's like I'm on MTV is what I'm on.
I'm in Palm Springs right now. Just kidding.
No, but I want it to be just like it was last year at the Globe Theater, downtown LA, stay at the Freehand Hotel, and I want Skateboard Hall of Fame to pay for it all. I don't know.
For sure.
That's just my thing.
The world has changed.
I know it has.
All
That's why I'm
changing.
telling you and Ken that it's all going to be a Zoom. It's all going to be a Zoom.
Hey, Tex, congratulations on the Hall of Fame, bro.
Hey, thanks, brother.
I'm so beyond stoked for you and just everything you've done, and just like you've been at my mom's house, you spent the night, and we have been bros. And when I come to Texas, you guys have been the best host in all the world. I think there's no other place in the world outside of California that was diehard skaters other than Texas.
Hey, man, we're all brothers, man. We've been around all over this country, all over the world together,
Yeah, but then there's brothers that can skate, and Texans can skate. Brett Britton, you are amazing, bro.
He's already got one.
So I don't care anymore.
No, I'm sure it sits right next to your bed.
Well, it's in the bathroom. It's in the bathroom.
That's where I'm going to keep mine if I ever get it. If this virus ever goes away.
Yeah.
So
it's away already.
How many people's watching this right now, you think?
It's just me and you.
Just us?
Really? Can I get?
I don't know how many are watching, but it's just mostly just us,
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say anything then. We'll talk about it.
You want me to turn off Facebook Live? We can have a real conversation.
Well, no, I don't want anyone else to hear. I only want to tell Christian. I only want to tell Christian, but
I could turn off the recording. I could turn off Facebook Live if you want.
Private conversation.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Hey, guys. I love you, man.
Hey, Christian, man. Great talking to you, bro.
This has been amazing, and I knew it was going to be just like this. I love you guys.
Love you too, man. We're going to do this more. The more we're like, God damn it. Fucking shit.
Let's do it again. Ed, Dominic.
All right.
Love you too.
All right, brother.
You guys.
All the boys, Fish, Ken, Grant. You guys rock.
See ya. Take care.
Okay.
Yeah, Christian.
Talk to you in a bit.
Sure, Christian.
I'll see you guys. I'm going to go.
Okay, see you, Grant.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Is anyone still there?
Yeah. Hey, Tex, question.
Oh.
What were you thinking when all of a sudden your name wasn't announced with his announcement?
Do you know what I did?
Huh?
Do you know what I did?
What?
I turned fucking evil. I fucking posted all over Skateboard Hall of Fame. How can you rip the rug out from me? Because I have my whole family, everyone watching it, right? And all of a sudden I went in the video and I like rewound it, watched it. I'm like, no, I'm not in it. And I fucking sent off these fucking comments on Facebook, fucking Instagram. called Mark Waters, tore him a fucking new asshole. He couldn't even get words out of his mouth. I was just fucking cussing himself. And then my phone starts ringing, all these California numbers, threw my phone against the wall. I just laid in bed going, I can't believe those motherfuckers.
Well, we figured he'd probably have that reaction, didn't we, gentlemen?
It was like he got so excited his phone went off again.
He threw his phone against the wall.
Oh, again, he forgot. He's already in.
Looking back.
Yeah, I kept posting on social media.
But I had already known. A little birdie had told me he was already in, but it just didn't get posted. It was a glitch, you know.
That's what happened.
So
Well, it's just like those guys were
he's
saying.
looking for his phone.
The Skate Hall of Fame should pay for their airplane tickets and their room and stuff. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a union for skateboarders like pro football and stuff that has an account that has that factored into the yearly budget. You know,
sure.
All the manufacturers are tight and they keep all their money to themselves. Like, I won't mention any names because it's live, but even the skateboarders don't kick down. Even street companies that made millions of dollars when it changed into $1 million industry, they barely did anything. They didn't hold contests. Sure, they sent a box of boards off, but that wasn't the same. So
right.
looks like Ed left us too. So you.
That's cool. Well, that was good. It was that was interesting. I don't know when did you come in, Don?
Are we still live on Facebook?
Oh, let me turn it off. I'm going to turn the recording off too.